And there we go, everyone. We are back again for another fantastic conversation on Friday Night Counter Attack. This one is another very special pre-season podcast as we are looking forward to the new Premier League season in a bit of style. All of us has come with the style today. We're going to do the rounds in terms of introducing everyone. So it's good to have Travis back on the podcast after your multiple holidays away, scouring Europe for finest of talents. Travis, it's good to see you again. How are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, not bad on the holiday blues. Having just come back from Cyprus, but yeah, getting through it.
Nah, it's good to hear. And did you see any young Cypriot players that you thought, you know what, we need to sign them for Port Vale for the season ahead? Reckon you got any talents coming up there, Travis? What do you think?
Wasn't really keeping an eye on the football while I was there. Too busy eating.
Okay, so that's the other talent you were talking about, the talented chefs that we've got out in Cyprus, which is good to see. Someone else who's very talented as well, someone who's appeared on the United stand over the last season and potentially this upcoming season as well. I'm still waiting that confirmation, so we're waiting for that. Here we go in the summer. It is our friend Double A, who we had a really good game of foot golf this summer, along with Travis, which is good fun. So Double A, we haven't seen each other since foot golf. How's your summer been and how are you doing, my friend?
Oh, appreciate the invitation to be back on, obviously. Big shout out to you, obviously, and killing it, mate. I'm good, summer's the summer, innit? I think we think it's going to be this massive chasm of no football, and there's been football the whole time. I don't think I've missed it, and it's what, 2 weeks till the season comes back. I'm ready and raring to go, mate. It's already heating up for our team, Manchester United, but
yeah,
I'm glad to be here and talking football and talking, a nation that means a lot to me. I'm sure we'll get into it.
But and I have to say thank you to you as well, because you were the one who came up with the full idea of going in depth with the Brazilian talent that we've had in the world. And I thought, you know what, let's link it to the Premier League, let's link it to the draft. Let's talk with someone who talks about the Premier League consistently and not just the big teams, but every single team. And that's our good friend Sani, that sports guy. Sani, it's good to see you again, my friend, having your time off from social media. It's good to see that you're back. It's good to see that you're raring to go for a podcast. And I did try and book you a week in advance just to make sure you were here. You're in big demand now, my friend. It's good to see you doing so well, and I'm happy everything's okay. But how are you doing, Sani, this summer?
Yeah, all I can say is finally the sports guy has come back to Friday Night Counter Attack. Listen, I'm absolutely buzzing for this because it has been a while. It has been a while. The exams were shaky, let's just say, but I'm back to doing what I love doing. So I'm looking forward to this episode because, listen, Argentina, Brazil, biggest rivalry probably maybe in the world in terms of nations. Can't wait to get stuck into this one when it comes to the Premier League draft.
I'm looking forward to it. We're going to do it in pairs as well because there's 4 of us. It's going to be a pairing system, which will be good fun. So the way it works is we've got to agree on a formation. So it'll either be 4-4-2 or 4-3-3. Double A, you're going to be with Travis on this one, and I'm going to be with Sani on this one as well. There's no limit to how many players from Brazil or Argentina you can choose. Realistically speaking, I'd say I'm happy with a 4-3-3 if everyone is as well. It's a pretty common formation, which is pretty good as well. Travis, I do have to apologize for you being in the minority today. And I'm not talking about skin complexion. I'm talking about being a Spurs fan. So I just want to say thank you for ticking the box for us on Friday Night Counter Attack. We do love to be inclusive and diverse across all platforms that we are. So I appreciate you being here. And let's get ready to rumble. Brazil and Argentina all-time Premier League draft. Team Double A versus Team Sani. Travis will take a backseat. I mean, we've got Double A who's ready for this, and Sani's got a pretty good football knowledge as well. So again, it's alternate pick. So I'll let you guys go first. So again, Double A, Travis, you go first, and we'll just follow in suit, which will be pretty good. So as you know, start with your wild card. Then we go from goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, and attackers to go forward as well. So who's picking your wild card, Travis? Is it going to be you? Is it going to be Double A? Where are we going with this one?
I'll let you take it, Double A, if you've got someone in mind.
Right, so I've got 2 in mind, and I think they're both classed as potentially the best that's ever been in that position before.
Ooh.
To play, not just in the Premier League, but all over. One, especially in the Premier League.
Ooh.
Now, one you won't like because it's for a team that you don't like, especially, and one plays for my team, but I absolutely love him, but I feel he's not done enough to be classed as a Premier League great.
Fabio da Silva, isn't it? It's Fabio da Silva.
But it could be. No. Right. It kills me to say it. It kills me to do it because I absolutely love him, and the fact he plays for Manchester United is the greatest thing that's happened to this club in a good few years. But he is an invincible. He's done a lot for the game. He's played for the national team. You know, further than that, he's also on the bad side. He's helped United get Fred. So you know, he does have some bad points as well. I have to say.
Blood on his
But
hands. Blood on his hands. He has. I know who you're talking about now. Just from that, blood on his hands. He does.
So RDM, I think it's a brilliant shout. It has to be Gilberto Silva, number 19.
Yeah, I'll take that. Happy with that.
Yeah.
Travis, you're writing these teams down, yeah?
Yeah, write them down. Don't worry.
Sweet. Perfect. Sonny, again, you're our guest, so you can take the wildcard pick anywhere on the pitch. You can go, except for Gilberto Silva, the invincible for Arsenal, the invisible wall, as they called him back in the day. Where are we going, my friend?
I think it's an easy one, but it's kind of embarrassing because I'm wearing a Man United, shirt. Got Van Nistelrooy on the back, and this striker was, and he still is. I mean, I know he doesn't play anymore, but listen, his stats speak for themselves. Yes, sometimes he doesn't get mentioned as the best ever striker to ever grace the Premier League, unlike other strikers, but it has to be Sergio Aguero up top.
Ooh.
Unbelievable striker. What he done for Manchester City coming in first game when he was there on his debut against Swansea, you just knew they had a player. And I'm gutted that we signed Phil Jones over Sergio Aguero. They always chant that at the Etihad all the time, that you signed Phil Jones, we signed Kun Aguero. And the thing is, that still kills us. Like, if we signed Aguero, fortunes could have been a lot different. But, if buts or maybes, that's what that's all about.
Similar amount of money as well. It was just the worst thing.
Sergio Aguero, like, even done bits when he was at Atletico. Him and Forlan, unbelievable. That's when Atletico Madrid, pre-Simeone, weren't that team. So, Sergio Aguero, unbelievable player. And listen, I know, if we signed him, things could have been a lot different for Manchester United, that's for sure.
Imagine a Rooney and Aguero strike partnership after losing that Champions League final to Barcelona. We would have killed it in the Premier League for a good number of years as well. Aguero would have been that number 9. 5-time Premier League champion, 1 FA Cup, 6 League Cups, 3 Community Shields as well. I think it's 2 FA Cups, actually, Aguero, that he got as well. 184 goals in 275 appearances for Sergio Aguero. And before we move on to our teams, just a quick one for me from the 3 of you. Start, bench, sell. Thierry Henry, Alan Shearer, Sergio Aguero.
I'm not answering that question. I'm bottling that question. I'm bottling it.
It needed to be done. It needed to be done. And you can take emotion out of it. You don't have to put your Manchester United hat on for this one as well. Double A or Sani. Travis, let's go with you first. Where would you go? Start, bench, sell.
I think I'd automatically start Henry.
Mm.
And then it really is a toss-up between the other two. I would bench Shearer and sell Aguero, I think.
Ooh. Double A, would you agree or disagree with that one?
I massively disagree. You have to start Alan Shearer. There's a reason why he's the leading goal scorer and did it at Newcastle. If he'd have come, you talk about Aguero coming to Manchester United. If Shearer had done that back in the 90s, you're talking about not only him scoring even more goals to lead. Harry Kane would be nowhere near him, I think, if he had come to Manchester United for those years. You're also talking about Manchester United potentially picking up more Premier Leagues and more Champions Leagues with him in. And that's a silly thing. It sounds like a silly thing to say because of what Manchester United won. But, I think it's looked back upon. I think there's so much disrespect given to Alan Shearer these days. He was a phenomenal goal scorer. He could do everything. Outside the box, inside the box, headers, penalties, free kicks. He had it all. And I think, for me, he has to start. He's still the greatest striker to play in the Premier League. I would then bench Aguero because I think he's not given us. I need to replace him now. He's given football fans in the Premier League possibly one of the greatest moments of all time in letting them win a title.
And PTSD along the way, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And all Henry did really was win a league where he drawn most of the games and when they should have lost. So I'll sell Henry because then it means Arsenal fans don't really have anything, and that's even better for me. You see, so take him away from Arsenal fans. I'll bench Aguero and I'll start the leading goal scorer in the Premier League, and that's Alan Shearer.
So you've got the main goal scorer of the 90s, you've got one of the main goal scorers in the 2000s, and one of the top goal scorers in the 2010 era as well. Sani, where are you going with this one for your start bench self?
Nostalgia's a hell of a drug. I'm going Henry as a striker, just because, like, growing up, obviously Van Nistelrooy was my favorite player, but Henry, week in, week out, stuff that he done, I was just like, wow. Like, there was a player I could take from Arsenal, it would always be. I mean, Bergkamp was close, but it was always Henry. Like, I was like, this guy's sensational. And then I'd probably bench Shearer. But the thing is, what Double A has said is actually quite good, because the thing is, Shearer, if you look at his stats, pre-injury, post-injury, he was just lethal, man. And the thing is, I speak to so many like football fans, especially that were born around 2005, basically when Shearer wasn't playing or was at the end of his career. They're just like, oh yeah, Shearer didn't really achieve a lot. And I'm just like,
On the Premier League with Blackburn.
yeah, like, he was serious, man. He was serious. Like, people love doing a lot of revisionism when it comes to Shearer. So yeah, I'd probably put Shearer on the bench. And then yeah, Sergio Aguero. I think that's how I think it'll be for most fans, though, to be honest with you. Bar Double A, but
we'll let the comments decide on this one as well. We'll get loads of people from all around the world. How dare you sell Henry? And Double A will have a lot of comments to answer in this one, which will be good fun as well.
As long as the Geordies are backing me, I know I'm safe.
Yeah, it's true. Loyal Geordies will definitely be there as well. And the occasional Blackburn Rovers fan, which will be the case as well, which should be good fun. But those are good wild cards that we've got for everyone. And we're going to go back to front now. Goalkeepers. Travis, it's your go for this one. Where are you going for your goalkeeper?
It's a toss-up for me between two Brazilians, but I think I'm going to go for Alisson.
Oh,
I'm so happy you said that, mate.
I thought you're going to go for Aurelio Gomez.
to be honest, I had Gomez as a backup option if all my other options got chosen first. But no, having first pick, yeah, Alisson or Ederson was the sort of toss-up for me. I just think Alisson's a little bit more reliable and a little bit more safe. I think Ederson's got an odd mistake in him, especially in big games. I remember a Champions League game we had against Man City a few years ago on the run to the final. And I remember that us scoring a couple of goals against him that I thought, how has he let that in? And I feel like you've never seen that with Alisson, barring the first few games when he came to the Prem and he had a couple of little errors. But other than that, he's been ridiculous. And when Liverpool have been not so good recently, he's been, just as good as ever, and has pulled them out of some deep holes, really. So yeah, for me, Alisson's number one. I think he probably gets into a conversation of best keeper to have played in the Premier League anyway, Brazilian or not. But yeah, he's my choice.
I mean, he's definitely one of the few that have scored a goal in Premier League history as well, with that last minute equalize against West Brom as well. And I agree. I think we spoke about it last season in terms of how Alisson kind of kept Liverpool in that Champions League hunt, which they were unsuccessful with at the end of the day, but he kept him in some big games as well. 173 appearances, 78 clean sheets, and obviously a Premier League and a Champions League winner. Big change in movement for Alisson at Liverpool compared to when they had Loris Karius there as well, and Mignolet. It's my turn now. So Salim's not here, so shout out Salim. I know you would have been on this podcast, and I know if you were picking a goalkeeper, you would have gone to Aston Villa. You would have chosen your Argentina World Cup winner, Emi Martinez. But it's me and Sani, and I think Sani, you'd agree with me by picking the other Brazilian keeper who's been quite a star for Manchester City. It's Ederson. Happy with him at 102 clean sheets, 3 assists, and 217 appearances for Ederson as well. Not really much has to be said about him. Another fantastic keeper and a big part of how Pep Guardiola plays as well, which is great. Right back, Double A, where are we going with this one?
Yeah, can I just say about, I find it so funny, like, obviously, Brazilian players are all known for being these amazing, like, forwards, attackers, wingers, defenders, fullbacks. It's really strange that in the Premier League, the best 2 Brazilians are both goalkeepers. I find that
that's actually true. That's actually true. They've been so consistent for so many years as well. It's insane. And like Travis said as well, could be in conversation for best keepers in Premier League history because of what they've achieved.
I think so. I think Alisson as well. I have to say on Alisson, like he improves every single team in the world. I think he's not a team he doesn't go into and he doesn't improve them. Ederson, I agree with Travis what you're saying. He has that odd mistake, and you could say in some systems he may be let down and he wouldn't improve them as such. But I think Alisson is such a well-rounded and capable goalkeeper in every aspect. I think he's just unbelievable. It's just a shame he plays for Liverpool, really, which I'm sure we'll all agree with.
Definitely agree with that.
My right back, right. I'm going to be selfish now. Sorry, Travis, I had to do this to you, mate. But I didn't put Casemiro in. So I love this guy.
Where are you going with this?
The fact Louis van Gaal sold him still burns me to this day. Like he was the better of the two twins, and I think he scored an absolute worldie. Well, two worldies actually. One against Arsenal, and then one against QPR. Sorry, but I just love him. I honestly, he had. Again, we talk about flair. He didn't have no flair, but he had that Brazilian grit, determination. He was a fighter. You know, he's that incident in Anfield, and he's squaring up to about 4 Liverpool players, Jamie Carragher, and I think Skirtle was there as well, and then giving it to Carlos Tevez in the derby. He was an absolute little warrior, and I was made up when we had a Brazilian right back in the club. He was fantastic, and we share the same name. My middle name is Rafael, so I'm going to go for Rafael de Silva at right back, please.
Great shout as well. Remember, 3-time Premier League winner as well, which is insane. And a lot of people sleep on him in terms of some of the best South American right backs, than Brazilian right backs we've had in the Premier League. So really good shout there as well. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people will remember that QPR goal, especially, not just because of that banger going to the top corner, but because Robin van Persie fell in that camera hole as well. And he got injured. If you remember that was a bit of a painful one for RVP. But I just remember Rafael de Silva was always up for these derby games, these big games against City, against Arsenal, Liverpool at Anfield especially. Yeah. Remember that 2-1 where Van Persie scored the penalty and he crossed it. I think he crossed it into Van Persie or Kagawa or someone. And then Rafael scored at Anfield. That was it. He scored against Liverpool to make it 1-1 in the game. Left-footed crossing. Fantastic goal against Pepe Reina.
Great goal.
In front of the away fans. Sani, was Rafael de Silva your first choice for your right back, or have you got someone else in mind?
He probably was, to be fair, just because I like attacking fullbacks, to be honest. So with that being said, I'm going for his brother. No, I'm joking. I'm not going to go for his brother.
Cardiff City legend. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. He was more of a left back. Save him for left back.
He was like, I think there's that famous picture where we played Arsenal 2010-11 season, the FA Cup, and I think them two were on either side of the flanks, obviously with fullbacks, and we had like Fletcher on one side, Park Ji,
O'Shea, Brown, Gibson,
crazy. Yeah, but right back, gonna be quite boring. Tried, tested, reliable. He scored, I think, on the day that City actually won the league in 2011-12. Pablo Zabaleta. He wasn't the most riveting right back, but sometimes when you just need a dog in there, someone is going to bite down on the gum shield. It sounds like I'm on a boxing podcast, but someone to bite down on the gum shield and just give you some effort, especially away from home. Because a lot of the times I saw Zabaleta was when City were away from home, where they just need some solidity, and he'd always be that guy.
Something that Mika Richards couldn't provide them at right back at the time.
No, and that's the thing. Like Zabaleta didn't burst onto the scene, but Zabaleta was very, very reliable, and sometimes you just need that. Like I think Chelsea had that in Ivanovic. I'm not saying Zabaleta was as good as Ivanovic, but Ivanovic was just solid, and Zabaleta I think gives us that in our team anyway.
Absolutely, 2-time Premier League winner, 1-time FA Cup winner, and 2-time League Cup winner as well for Pablo Zabaleta. Centre backs. This is where it's going to get fun. Are we going to go for these ones with flair? Are we going to go for the ones with a bit of passion, a bit of dirt, and a bit of grit about them as well? Travis, where are you going for your first choice centre back? And are you going to North London for this one?
I would love to be ridiculously biased and pick Christian Romero first, because everybody knows how much of a soft spot I've got for that guy. But if I'm being unbiased and honest, there's only one choice for me, and that's Thiago Silva.
Oh my goodness me. That was my first choice pick, but that was probably everyone's first choice.
What a guy. I was below the screen. I had my hands like this. I was praying.
Yeah, he came to the league a couple of years ago, and I think a lot of people, me included, were laughing at the transfer. I think a guy of his age coming across to the most difficult league in the world when he played for the best team in, what's respectfully a one-team league. I think everybody probably expected him to fail, like I say, me included, but he's proven everybody wrong, and he just seems to get better with age, and he's shown no signs of slowing down.
Nah, good shout there of Thiago Silva. And I'm pretty sure I would say Thiago Silva is probably one of the best centre-backs we've seen this decade in the Premier League, and he's kept it going for Chelsea because of all the turnarounds they've had, with all the sales they've had in the last 2-3 seasons as well. He's been the mainstay at the back, and they're always looking to partner Thiago Silva with someone else. Rudiger's gone. We've seen Christensen gone. We're seeing Colwill come into the team now as well after seeing a few players leave over the last couple of seasons. So shout out Thiago Silva, fantastic player and fantastically well respected across world football as well. Sardi, it's my turn. I'm not going to be picking anyone as good as Thiago Silva, but I'm not sure what I'm going to go for. You're going to forgive me on this one, but I'm going to go for more of a fun one for this one as well. I am going to Chelsea. I am going for a Brazilian, and I'm going to go for someone who had a monster free kick on him. He was one of those, I think, probably now you could say he's a streets will never forget player, but if you're around at the time, you would appreciate the centre-back. He was always like a backup centre-back to the main partnership of Terry and Carvalho, but he had a monster free kick on him, could shoot from outside the box, and big header as well on him, scoring 7 goals and 3 assists in the Premier League. It's Alex from Chelsea. Is my first choice centre-back for this one as well. And I really did like him as well. Didn't really hit it off internationally, unfortunately, because of the quality that they had at the time, Brazil, but it is what it is. It was kind of the Premier League's gain in a way to kind of watch Alex ball out for Chelsea, and obviously won the Premier League with them as well. Double A, your second choice centre-back. Where are we going with yours?
Right. See, now I feel to go for not a fun one, but almost the streets won't forget one as well, you see. Because there's one I was thinking of, but he could potentially be the left back. So
I know you're thinking of. Oh God.
I'm not gonna pick him though. I'm gonna go for, and this might sound mad, I'm gonna go for the Newcastle legend with the nice curly hair. He's the Argentinian Puyol. I'm gonna go for Colaccini, I think, as our second centre back. I think that works quite well. He was a warrior. He was dogged. He helped that team even when they weren't that great. He was still
even when they got relegated as well, coming back straight away from the Championship.
Yeah. So yeah, let's get Colaccini in there to play alongside Thiago Silva. I think that's a cracking centre back partnership.
Solid partnership that is. You're not getting anything off those two.
I was hoping you were going to be a bit sentimental and go for a North London pick to help out Travis there, but it's not the case.
Sorry, mate.
I'll let you off.
Sani, where are we going for your second choice one? I know there's another one who used to play for Chelsea who was Brazilian and did have a killer free kick on him, but where are we going with this one for yourself?
I was just thinking when you mentioned Colaccini, like I don't know if you guys have heard that song that Newcastle fans made about him, but it was quite an interesting one. Let you guys listen to that, and the viewer and the listeners as well. Once you've listened to the podcast, just make sure you just go on YouTube and just search that song up because it was quite a funny.
Give us a rendition.
Yeah, sorry.
You got your microphone ready. We know it. Come on.
You got to say that. You got to give us a rendition.
Oh, Colaccini, you are the love of my life. Oh, Colaccini, I'll let you hang my wife. Oh, Colaccini, I've got curly hair too. Listen, I know one person on the internet that's definitely singing that line, especially about his wife, and that's Adam22. But listen, this is a football podcast. So forget about him. Anyhow,
I thought you meant John Terry then. All right,
he's definitely interested. He's definitely interested. He's joining the back of the line, to be honest with you. But
he'd have been on the DMs for it as well. It's insane.
Centre-backs. I know who you're thinking of. I know who you're thinking of, Hamza. But I'm going to go with another dog, another centre-back that, to be honest with you, that season that he won the league with his team, I was like, where's this come from? Because I never thought he'd be that good for them. But I'm going Nicolas Otamendi. That 17-18 season that Man City had.
The 100-point season.
Yeah, he was definitely, I think, their best centre-back. And I was really surprised of how composed he was. I think he scored at Old Trafford as well. So
he did, the first goal.
Yeah, like
PTSD.
I didn't know that because I always thought like this guy's rash. He's there's always a mistake in him. But that season I was like fair play, and I think he can be quite dogged, and he's someone that I think we need, especially if Alex is going to be bombing up forward. At least you got Otamendi at the back to just kind of shore things up at least. But there is a mistake in him, so that's the only issue.
And even with Otamendi last season going to the World Cup final, being their main centre back as well. as opposed to a Manchester United centre back from Argentina, who I literally bought this shirt for, our little butcher, but he didn't make the team for us, unfortunately, or anyone's team. He made the World Cup final team and he won the World Cup final, which was great. And he got Benfica to their quarterfinals in the Champions League as well. Nicolas Otamendi, 2-time Premier League winner, definitely slept on in my opinion as well. But because you've got so many stars at Man City, he wouldn't be the first name to kind of shout out for as well, which would be great. Travis, this is your choice for left back, right?
Yes. Yeah, left back was where I struggled most in terms of options, but there was one name that sort of stood up above the rest, and that's Gabriel Heinz.
Oh,
which I thought we'd get that.
That's who you were thinking of, wasn't it? Double A.
Yeah. There's I think there was only one option really. I think if you look at everybody else, the way I was thinking when I was planning this earlier today was that if you guys picked Gabriel Heinz, I was just going to put a right back in at left back because there weren't any other ones that I fancied. So yeah, he was the obvious option for me. So I'm interested to see where you guys go with it.
It's my pick, isn't it?
good luck, Hamza.
That's fine.
Fabio.
I'm not going Fabio. I'm going Julio Arca from Sunderland. Just move on to the next one. Move on.
Was he at Middlesbrough as well?
He was at Middlesbrough as well. He just stayed in the northeast. He was good, but he had a good free kick on him. He had a good cross on him. Argentinian, but never really made it to the national team. But I just remember him being a quality namestay in the mid-2000s as well in the northeast of England. But yeah, Julio Arca. I'm not going to give shout-outs to the rest of them because they don't particularly deserve shout-outs because they didn't really do much. But obviously Fabio da Silva we mentioned earlier. So Travis, you've well and truly beaten me there for left back. Free centre mids. This is where it gets fun for me, even more than the attack, because we've got so many amazing midfielders. You've obviously picked your wild card as your Roberto Silva as your centre defensive mid. So by all means, you can set up your midfield three however you want. So double A, you've got your second midfielder already to choose from, which is great fun. So where are you going with this one?
Yeah, no, I don't know. Also, I have to say, I'm so glad I didn't pick Heinz as the centre back, and that allowed us to get him at left back. That's done us the world of good.
I'm looking at Travis looking down on his phone. Is he texting you in the meantime? Is that what's going on?
No, I'm making notes. I'm noting down the teams. Don't worry, there's no conferring going on.
Nah, that's good.
Also, there was one left back I was thinking of that I thought would be pretty good, and that was Silvino. I thought he would have done all right. Scored that worldie against Chelsea that time. He was an all right player.
He was really good. But just before my time, so I'm not going to pretend like I knew.
Yeah,
and obviously, that's my rule. I don't like picking players I never saw. So he would have been a really good shout for the team.
Yeah. Right, so centre mid now. I mean, I'm really right. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it. I think it has to be done. He may have been a bit of a flop in the Premier League, but he's one of my favourite players of all time. I wore blue Asics just like him when I played football as a kid.
Swear.
I absolutely adored him. I have to put him in. It is the witch, of course. It's Juan Sebastian Veron. I can't not put him in. I don't really.
I still can't believe you wore Asics. That's the crazy thing as well.
Oh, they were clean as well. They were so good. Like, I loved him. Even like 2002 World Cup, I got bought. I mithered for a Argentina shirt just to support him because he played for United. Even though obviously Brazil are my team, I just wanted to back him because I couldn't believe he played for Manchester United. It's like we made world class players. We didn't buy them so much back then. And when he came in, I was in awe. I was like, he's just unbelievable. So. Yes, he may not have done it. He won a Premier League, but he may not have done it to the heights that we thought of. You know, it's kind of like a square peg in a round hole kind of thing into our midfield, but he was just unbelievable. And yeah, I'm glad I can get him into our team alongside Gilberto Silva.
To this day, my uncle, who's a season ticket holder for 28, 29 years now, he'll still talk about a few players. AA, we've spoken about this before, about Eric Cantona, and one of his favourite midfielders he's ever watched is Juan Sebastian Veron. His range of passing that would go unnoticed because you had Scholes, Beckham, Giggs in that team as well, Ferdinand to an extent, in that second season that he was there. It goes to show how well received he's been in the Premier League. And he also played for Chelsea for one season as well in the Premier League. So been around a bit, which is good fun. But Juan Sebastian Veron is a player to watch. If you, like Sani said at the end of this podcast, if there's one player I want you to take away today, it's Juan Sebastian Veron. His range of passing, his free kicks, incredible technical ability before it's kind of praised and hyped up in the Premier League as well, I would say.
Unbelievable. I went to Soccer Aid a few years ago,
Mm.
and it was when Cantona was actually the manager of the rest of the world team at Old Trafford, and he and Stam were both playing for the rest of the world.
Ooh.
They could still play today. They were honestly like miles ahead of everyone else on the pitch. It was still fine. I know it's not professional, but the space he was finding, the balls he was picking out, the range, like you say, the range of passing is just unbelievable. I was sat right at Stretford End in a nice, exact, comfy seat, so I could see it all. It was a nice level, and I just fell in love with him all over again. And yeah, I'm so happy. I got to pick him from the team.
Nicely done. That's a sick midfield. You got Roberto Silva and Veron, mid-2000s, is calling back. Sani, what are we going to do about this one? We've got a defensive midfielder or two. Where are you going to go? You're going to go two defensive or one defensive? You can start
one defensive, one holding player. We need some attacking options, I think. And the thing is, them picking Veron is a very good move because box to box as well. So yeah. But defensive midfield, they can't choose another defensive midfield. No way. So we can talk through options. I mean, Fernandinho's the obvious choice. One that's a bit under the radar, Cambiasso, like for Leicester that season. He was incredible. Yeah. And, you know, it's a shame he didn't come to the league early. I know he'd done absolutely amazing at Inter Milan, and I think he was at Real Madrid before that. But Cambiasso, like, that guy oozes class. But listen, I just don't think you can look away from Fernandinho. What he's won, he basically kind of, I'm not saying he's the reason Rodri is as good as he is, but he kind of helped Rodri acclimatize to the league and his position. And I mean, City are blessed. They went from Fernandinho to Rodri. I wonder who's next in that line. But yeah, we got to go Fernandinho, Hamza.
No, I'm happy with that. I mean, great shout. 5-time Premier League champion as well. Mainstay in that 100-point season that they got. And obviously, it's quite crazy how Pep Guardiola plans these years in advance. Like you're seeing when David Silva retired, Phil Foden came to the fold. When Fernandinho left, it was Rodri that came to the fold as well. And it's going to be a big case with a lot of their players that are leaving this summer as well for them to replace them with younger players coming in, which will be good to see. But Fernandinho is someone who, as Man United fans, I'm pretty sure, Travis, you would agree as well, you'd love to hate him because he was always there pulling one of your players' shirt on a counter-attack, stopping you from actually running through on goal, always taking those silly tackles and slowing the game down when Manchester City have been at full pelt for a good 5-10 minutes without any compromise. And that's what Fernandinho did for Manchester City and for Brazil. But I think, again, for Brazil, he was someone who didn't really get as much game time as we thought he should have done, especially for me in that 2014 World Cup, because he was at Shakhtar Donetsk, but he didn't play that much, if I remember correctly. But yeah, happy with that Fernandinho shout as well, which would be good fun. And yeah, Travis, you can go for your third pick, and then what we'll do, Sonny, is we'll pick 2 picks in a row to complete our midfield off, which will be good fun as well. So Travis, fire us away with your final midfield pick, I should say.
I struggle a little bit with this one. I'm gonna go for, though, Philippe Coutinho.
Oh, for God's sake.
An advanced midfield role.
Oh.
Feels like the obvious choice.
They've killed us. They've killed us in this midfield.
Please say Liverpool Coutinho, though, not...
Oh, not Villa Coutinho. Yeah, no way. No. Yeah, the first sort of few years at Liverpool. Yeah. Not Barca or Bayern Coutinho either. No, just those few years at Liverpool. Yeah, he was just magic for... it felt like every week he was scoring a goal from 30, 40 yards out, and every time you saw him score a screamer, it somehow seemed to be further out than his last one. It's a shame that he's sort of lost that magic a little bit when he left the league and came back, but I think Liverpool fans especially will remember just how good he was those first few years.
The fondness they had for him as well, like he was one of their own. It goes to show how much you can be loved in football and then kind of despised and forgotten about after leaving, because Liverpool fans moved on after the money that they got for him was astronomical. They then bought Alisson and Virgil van Dijk in the next couple of transfer windows and then won the league and the Champions League. No, Champions League, then the league, which was insane. So it shows how football can move on from a player straight away. And Coutinho went from hero to zero in no time at all, which was crazy to see. I fear we're going to go hero to zero in a bit, Sonny, with the players that we've got to kind of compete in this midfield. It's quite worrying. It's my choice first and it's yours. If we're going to go for Fernandinho to hold it down, I'm going to go for a personal choice because I think it's a personal choice for me, but I really like this player. I would always see a lot of players trying to follow this guy around the pitch and they just couldn't find him at all. which was great. And that's Ramirez from Chelsea, the Brazilian, literally box-to-box midfielder, someone who can compete with Veron in this team and probably trying to hold down Philippe Coutinho. 17 goals in the Premier League, 15 assists, won the Premier League once. I think it was under Jose Mourinho in 2015. And he was someone who would play anywhere on the pitch for Chelsea Football Club and was revered as a great signing for them for the money that they paid for him as well. But I think when he left the Premier League, I think he went to China, and then he was kind of like how these Saudi Arabian players are being like just disregarded and forgotten about, but no one cares about them. It was kind of like that. Like no one really cared about Ramirez after that, but I thought he was a fantastic player in his heyday at Chelsea Football Club. What do you think, Sani?
Unbelievable player. I actually was hoping you'd say him, because I feel like we needed a box-to-box player in our team just for that balance. And I mean, I know we're talking about the Prem, but his goal against Barcelona 2012 Champions League semi-final, unbelievable, in the words of Gary Neville. Like that chip. How's he chipping?
You weren't
that?
high enough. You weren't high enough with that one.
Oh, like I just don't.
You're the
get
voice
how
modulator for that.
I just don't get how he pulled that goal off. Like to this day, he was maybe 20 yards out. Valdez is rushing on, and he's chipped it, and he has buried it. Like how that went in, and Chelsea were down to 10 men as well because Terry got sent off by then. So yeah, he was a player. Like I wish we signed him, to be honest with you, because there was rumors that we were going to get him when he did move to Chelsea. But listen, what a player! What a player!
Now it's your turn to pick our attacking midfielder, or if you're going to go for a second centre midfielder, where are we going with this one, Sani? Have you got someone to bring a bit of flair to it?
No, we definitely need an attacking midfielder. It's just the balance. I've always said, like, you want a holding player. Ideally, that holding player can dictate play. Fine, I don't think Fernandinho is really that person, but cool. We've got the box-to-box player. Now you want that creative attacking flair. The thing is, Travis bloody took Coutinho, much to my dismay. So that means that I'm going to have to go to a player which, it's another streets will never forget, but Oscar 2012-13 season at Chelsea, unbelievable. And, everyone talks about, why did Kevin De Bruyne not work out at Chelsea? And the big reason is because of Oscar, because him, when he was there, was a great player. Like I remember he scored 2 goals against Juventus in the Champions League as well. He was a pretty good player for them in that season, especially when you had Mata coming off the season that he did before that, where I think he got like 30 assists. Obviously, that was a season Hazard came into Chelsea as well. Oscar was the best attacking player of those three. So, yeah, Oscar, I mean, it's a shame that he went to China so early, but I understand, like, these players, it's their livelihood. They want to maximize their money. People can't really have a go at them for that at the end of the day. So he made that move, but when he was there at Chelsea, what a player he was.
Yeah, it was also very fun to watch for Brazil as well. Like AA, you can remind us as well when watching the 2014 World Cup as well. Neymar was the poster boy, but there was a lot of hype around Oscar at his home World Cup as well. Do you kind of remember what it was like watching Oscar and Neymar kind of ball out for that Brazil team, especially in the group stage games as well?
Yeah, them two were fantastic together. And I think, you look at barring a few others, that Brazil team was quite meaty, really. I know it was the home World Cup and it was expected to win, but you look back at that team, it's like, was it though? It wasn't that great.
Pure passion. That's how they got through.
Yeah, and you sometimes you could think about England in '96. Now I'm joking, but
literally, it's true. It's true with England as well.
No, they had a decent team. You're probably thinking more the Euros, but that Brazil team weren't that great. But Oscar, for me, I was really upset. Not to the point I was going to cry or anything, but I was really gutted when he left the Premier League because he was such a fantastic footballer. Sani said absolutely everything. That is right. And still, is he still only like 31, 32? So he's still relatively young. It's crazy that he went so early. And like you say, we're seeing it now with the Saudi League. The numbers being banded around. You're thinking about your future generations. You're thinking about your kids and how that sets them up. And it's only right. So many players went over to China. You would expect it. And, you think Brazilian players, they like to travel the world. You see a lot of them go to the Ukraine when they could, and all over the world, Brazilian players pop up. So I was really gutted that he went. I thought he was absolutely fantastic for Chelsea. And he could have been for Brazil further down the line. It's just a shame he kind of took himself out of that limelight by playing in a not that competitive league.
It's true as well, because it was just one of those where I think a lot of people as well, they're like, oh, will he come back for like a January loan every now and then to Europe? And it just didn't happen as well because of the way the seasons worked in in China as well, but it just wasn't the case. And when the Chinese league kind of fell during COVID, you expected a lot of them to jump ship, but he still didn't. He stayed loyal to it, and it worked out well for him in the end, being one of their marquee players in that league as well. So fair play to Oscar in that respect. But in a way, it kind of did compromise his future with the Brazilian national team as well, which was the case. So that's our midfield three. A few honourable mentions. Anyone can shout them out for midfielders, but I'm not going to go for Anderson, double A. Don't worry about him as well. Juninho from Middlesbrough is one of my honourable mentions as well. Yeah. If we didn't go for Ramirez, I'd have gone for him. I know Salim wanted me to mention Emi Buendia and Douglas Luiz, but that's because of his Aston Villa bias, so we're going to skip over them. One player I do want to mention is Andres de Alessandro from Portsmouth. People, if you don't remember him or if you don't know, he was a player that kind of came in mid-season for Harry Redknapp to help Portsmouth survive relegation for another season as well. So here's someone who didn't really make it in the Premier League, but he had a short but happy stint for Portsmouth, helping them survive relegation.
Wonder kid, he was tipped for massive things when he, was it River Plate he was at, and championship manager wonder kid, and it never really happened for him. I got a few, obviously Casemiro, that's the other DM I was going to go for.
That was your wild card from the beginning.
Actually, was going to be. Honestly, I don't think you understand how much I love this guy. I think everything.
I legit thought you wanted to do this podcast because of him. That's literally how passionate I thought you were about.
Do you know? Just Brazilians, bro. I just love Brazilian football, and it's mad.
Just put him right wing. Put him right wing if you want. I don't mind. I don't mind at all.
He could be the manager. It's all right. We'll do managers. He can be the Brazilian manager.
Manager.
I love Casemiro. But Emerson as well. You talk about Middlesbrough.
Emerson Royale from Spurs.
No, absolutely not. No, the second best Emerson that played in the Premier League. Travis,
the second best.
Yeah, in the 90s, Emerson, he came in, was doing the samba when he scored. He was an absolute baller. Fred, and even you've got to talk about it because he's a World Cup winner, but Cleberson as well. We need to talk about Cleberson. You know what I mean?
Wearing the shirt that Sani has as well, the 2003 shirt as well. 03 or 04, I think it was. He came in. Him and an unknown Portuguese winger called Cristiano Ronaldo came in that same summer for Manchester United in the same window. I wonder what happened to him.
Don't know him.
Yeah.
I wanted to shout out Sandro as well. He used to play for Tottenham.
That's a good shout, that is.
Yeah.
With his guitar. He played the guitar, didn't he?
Yeah, he was a good player. Yeah.
That banger against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, I remember that so fondly. He scored against Chelsea, banger, one of the first goals he scored in a while to lead at Stamford Bridge. And Harry Redknapp just shouts instructions at him when he runs over to him. He's like, no, don't come over to me. Get back in position. Do this, and do this. It's a funny moment for Sandro and Harry Redknapp as well.
Another Spurs player as well, Paulinho.
Oh, yeah?
He was dodgy there.
Banter era. When Bale leaves, Paulinho came out. To Spurs.
He went to Barca. He went to China and then went to Barca. It was
went to Barca for a year and then back to China. One of the strangest transfers that I've ever seen. So weird.
No, that's true.
He could have been special, but I think I think in the next couple of years, if he stays where he does, or if he goes to a bigger club, but Bruno Guimaraes, he's got potential to himself in there. But I think there's one player which we haven't mentioned, and I mean, fine, he did do a lot better when he left Liverpool, but Mascherano, I thought he was quite good when he was at Liverpool, especially that season where they nearly won the league, 2008-9. He was very, very good for them. But
mainstay with Alonso.
I mean, kind of made me smile when I saw Cleberson because I was like, I mean, he was just a little bit before I was kind of watching Man United, but everyone used to talk about how this guy is going to be, the next big thing for us, but it didn't really work out. Just like Eric Jemba.
He was the World Cup final man of the match when Ronaldo scored 2 goals. Imagine R9 scores 2 goals against Oliver Kahn on this German side, and Cleberson is our man of the match for Brazil against Germany in 2002. Last shout out, I've got to say, Fabinho, brilliant player for Liverpool, mainstay in that defensive midfielder. Apart from last season when injuries kind of got the best of him as well, and also being linked to a move to Saudi Arabia, just like his former captain Jordan Henderson, which is a case. Right, this is where it gets tricky for us, Sonny, because we picked our wild card. We picked our number 9. We've got quite a lot of attackers, but they're not on the same level as Sergio Aguero. And because obviously we picked last for midfielders, Double A, I think it's your go or Travis's go to start from right, middle, and left. So you can go right wing first, and then we'll go for our right wing second. So Double A, take it away.
Does it have to be right wing first?
Please say it's right wing.
Yeah, it has to be right wing. We go right to left, with right backs.
Right, okay. So we don't have to worry about number 9, Travis, because we can pick anyone now because they've picked theirs.
Yeah.
See, the reason why I'm thinking, well, left or right, but I know he was fluid through all three positions. So I feel I could get away with putting this guy on the left or the right because he's very fluid. I mean, there's only one choice, isn't there, really, that I got to pick. It's got to have to be Carlos Tevez.
Oh, no.
I thought you would have just skipped
Taking
over that.
all our players, it's so annoying.
I thought you would have skipped over that, man. I thought you would have.
Absolutely not. Like, fair enough.
I thought you were going to be like a proper Man United fan. Nah, I hate Tevez. Nah, he did this with Fergie sign. And nah, Manchester isn't blue. I was hoping you'd be that passionate guy, but you took emotion out for this one.
I'm wearing Brazil colours. I want to win. Me and Travis are in it to win it. I've got to pick the best players, and the best player is Carlos Tevez. Isn't that fluid? If I have to stick him on the right, I'll stick him on the right. But Carlos Tevez in our team. Thank you very much.
Agreed.
Amazing player as well. I mean, he won the Premier League, 3 times, 1-time Premier League winner as well. 84 goals in the Premier League and 201 appearances. I personally think is one of the top 10 Manchester City strikers we've ever seen. And I think he's going to be one of those players who Manchester City fans hopefully don't forget about because of what he's done for Manchester City. And to be fair to Man United fans, a lot of people still revere him in high praise, especially because of that 2007-2008 season as well. Getting into the Champions final, winning the double, and obviously going to the second double in a way of the League Cup and the Premier League. Not as emphatic and iconic as the Champions League, but that's what we had up front, innit, Sonny? We kind of had that with 2 killers up front in Ronaldo and Rooney and 1 dogged killer in Carlos Tevez who would run everywhere. And I think you and Double A will agree, Sonny, you go first and Double A, about how much of an impact Carlos Tevez had in those 2 years at Manchester United.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's a shame that it didn't work out. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's to do with wages. I wish we kept him because, I mean, yeah, fine. We signed Berbatov, and for that season we had Berbatov, Rooney, Ronaldo, and Tevez. But obviously Ronaldo went that year. Then Tevez went. That really killed us for 09-10 because then we had to rely on Rooney and Berbatov, and Berbatov wasn't that reliable that season. The season after, he was good for us, but he wasn't that reliable. And yeah, I really like Tevez. He's just tenacious, and you need players like that. And we really, really missed him that season, especially when Ancelotti came and won the league with Drogba. If we had out Tevez, I think things could have been very, very different. And let's be honest, I know we talk about City and noisy neighbours and all that, but that's the start, really. I know, they made Champions League and all that sort of stuff after that. They had the Saudis come in, but Tevez was a real sign of intent. And ever since then, that's when their, increase to stardom has begun, really.
Definitely. And Double A obviously picking Carlos Tevez as well. What's kind of your favourite memory as a Man United fan watching Carlos Tevez, rather at Old Trafford or even just on TV? But do you have a favourite moment, a favourite goal that you have from Carlos Tevez?
Favourite moment when he was doing a dance when he was shaking his ass a little bit. With that weird dance. That's
I thought you were going to say
that.
He had the dummy celebration as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, not that. No,
that was a bit of a wild one from Carlos.
I like
Tevez.
the fact he used to wear a scarf or
the snood.
And a snood in all year round. If it was sunny, if it was cold, the snood was on, gloves were on, no matter what. No, I just think my favourite memory of him, and it's not a goal, it's just the fact that I don't think the Premier League has ever seen such free-flowing, fluid football than those 3 playing together, because they had no set position. They were, like I say, they could play right, left, centre. They all did it, and they all bagged. And honestly, them 3 are the reason that people talk about that team beating the treble team, because they would put any team. They'd put the fear in any team now. Like, you put them against the City team, and now you can put them against the Liverpool team, the best ever Barcelona team. I think. Yeah, obviously, I know they beat us in Rome and stuff, but I think on the day, if he plays Fletcher and Jason Park,
starts Tevez as well as opposed to Jason Park.
Tevez, yeah, I think they're always in that conversation. I think we were a lot closer to Barcelona in 2009 than we were in 2011, and I think on the day we may have won. But that team and them 3 in particular were just unbelievable, and the combination of goals, the different types of goals, the style. Just the link-up play between them all. They're all. It's rare you get 3 players on the same wavelength that know where to be and how to interchange and where to pass to at the right time. it was absolutely frightening. And I've never seen anything since then. And little before, you probably think of United in the 90s with the two wingers and the two strikers, and York and Cole, probably the closest you'll get to that sort of telepathy and stuff like that. But those three were sensational. And Tevez coming in after that great season with West Ham, he scored that goal at Old Trafford to keep him up. It kind of set the tone for what was two great seasons with Manchester United. But yeah, he was a fantastic player. And as much as it hurt to see him go to City, it's when you grow up a little bit and you're a bit mature, you can look back and realise, wow, we were lucky to see him play for our club and win things while he was here.
Absolutely. Well said there, Double as well. It goes to show how amazing Carlos Tevez was at multiple clubs, especially at Manchester City and West Ham as well, despite talking about him at Manchester United. Right wing for us, Sani, it's my go. I'm not going to mess about. I'm just going to go for, I think the one I think would help Aguero the most up front with his assists in the way. I'm going to have to go for Willian, right wing. Sure. Yeah, 43 goals, 43 assists in the Premier League, still playing now at Fulham, if I believe correctly as well. So yeah, Willian right wing for me. I didn't want to go for Anthony because he hasn't really done anything as yet, and I didn't really want to go for Eric Lamela because he was guilty in the whole Anthony Martial thing. Travis, I'll keep saying that to this day. I still get annoyed by Eric Lamela. Still get annoyed about that as well. Lockdown football annoyed me to an extent that I couldn't believe it at all. But yeah, now it's your turn, Travis. You got your chance as your number 9. Is it going to be R9 from Spurs? Are you going to go down in that direction? Are you going to go for another number 9 you had a couple years ago, who's now at Fulham, who's a Brazilian international as well?
I like the mention for Carlos Vinicius there because I had a very, very special
guilty pleasure in it
for that guy. I loved Carlos Vinicius at
guilty
Tottenham.
Pleasure against your non-league opponents in the FA Cup.
Yeah, if Richie had had a good season this season, I might have been tempted to be biased because I've not picked a Spurs player yet, but he's been atrocious. So I'm gonna go for Roberto Firmino. I think that he would best complement the players we got on the team. I think if you look at Tevez and Coutinho around him, the amount of goals that Firmino is going to help those two get, especially Tevez, would just be disgusting. Absolutely.
That attack is disgusting already, and you've only got 10 players, for goodness sake.
Yeah, we've still got a left winger to choose as well. But yeah, I think that the selflessness that he's always had at Liverpool, and I think a big part of that terrific front three of him, Mane and Salah was him sort of gluing the three together and being the connecting piece, because I think it's quite well documented that Mane and Salah, don't really like passing to each other. But yeah, just a great player. I think it's a shame that he's left the Premier League now, but he'll go and earn his Saudi millions, and it's well deserved, isn't it?
And he was one of the first few players who was like a proper withdrawn forward after not really settling in as an attacking midfielder under Brendan Rodgers and Jurgen Klopp, and Jurgen Klopp put him as a withdrawn forward, a trequartista, as you were, to play with Salah and Mane, and that's where the magic came for Liverpool for a good 4 or 5 years as well, and that's where we've seen Liverpool's peak in the Premier League due to Firmino, Salah, and Sadio Mane as well. Sani, this is your chance to kind of help us redeem ourselves. We've got Aguero up front, so we've got the killer up front. We've got Willian. We're choosing Chelsea's Willian, not Fulham's or Arsenal's by all means. So we've got the right Willian there as well. Who have you got for our left winger? And who can you pick as your left winger as well? Because we're kind of scarce on choice, I would say, of quality.
Yeah, we are. I mean, I would have picked this player, but it's just a shame it didn't work out because this player wanted to go to Chelsea. He didn't want to go to Manchester City. But, Robinho is what I was hoping we could have chosen if things could have been different. But he just didn't really want to be at Man City, did he? But it's a tricky one. I'm probably going to be quite boring, and I'm going to shift a player who come out, I think today was it, in the press, and just said that, we weren't ready for a title race, but Gabby Jesus pushing to the left wing. I think if you ever saw him play for Manchester City, a lot of the times he'd always look quite threatening on the wing when he'd come into the middle, as opposed to playing down the middle. I think if Arsenal are serious about winning a league, I think their best option is to sign an actual striker as opposed to stick with Gabby Jesus. And I think Gabby Jesus, like I said, on the wing, he'd play a lot of big games as well for under Pep, where he'd actually play out of position on the wing, and he'd do a great job for him. So
on both wings as well. It was quite flexible in that way.
Quite flexible, and I'm going to go Gabby Jesus on the left wing for us.
Nah, that's a good shout as well. And Double A, you got the final pick for us. Besides your player manager of Casemiro, which you've already jumped the gun with that one. Where are we going for your left winger as well? Are we going for an Argentina player from the northeast, or are we going to go for somewhere, maybe somewhere quite local as well? I'd say in the northwest of Manchester. Where are we going with this one?
I beg you, pick Lamela.
Eric Lamela.
Do you know what?
He's going to do it.
For you, Travis, I'm going to do it. Let's get Eric Lamela.
Oh, I'm so happy. I love that guy.
His funky little Rabona goal against Arsenal. He's a good player, on his day, he could do a lot. I think there was a bit of issues with his temperament, you might say. He's just that typical South American.
Baker headbutt. What?
Yeah, well, there is that.
But the dark arts of Eric Lamela.
Yeah.
Listen, one day I'll get over it. One day.
Plenty of United in there. Plenty of Brazilians. So setting up my teammate for tonight, Travis, I'm happy to go and get Eric Lamela on the left-hand side because I think that's a great team that we've put together there. Definitely.
Love that. Yeah, I'm so happy you picked him. Even though he didn't ever really deliver the goods, I think he's always going to be one of my all-time favourite Tottenham players. He just would absolutely die for the badge. And like I say, he never really...
Die or die?
Die. Well, a bit of both, actually. With Lamela, a little bit of both. But that's what we loved about him. And I think he left and we did miss that a little bit, even though we didn't really miss his quality. And I think we've got that back with Romero now because he's just another he's another one of those players who's just an absolute dog. And yeah, I do miss him. And I'm happy that he's gone, to Spain and gone to Sevilla. And I think he won the Europa League with them alongside Brian Hill, also on loan from Tottenham. So
and Alex Telles on loan.
Yeah, I'm really glad to see he's gone and won himself a trophy after so many barren years at Tottenham.
It's good to hear. It's a good team from us, and I think it's an even better team from Double A and Travis. But as always, we'll let the listeners and we'll let the followers on social media decide as well. Any honourable mentions before we read out our teams and ask Double A to share his thoughts on the kits of Argentina and Brazil before we wrap up? But I've got Jonas Gutierrez coming back from cancer to score a winning goal for Newcastle.
To keep them in the league as well.
Keep them in the league, which shows the extent that he came in as well. I'm going to say Gabriel Martinelli and I'm going to say Lucas Moura. Lucas Moura is a mainstay in the Tottenham Hotspur side under Mauricio Pochettino after 2-3 years, I would say. Pretty good player, which is pretty good. Any other forwards? We mentioned Robinho earlier, but I'm not really sure I can think of any more. Hernan Crespo, actually. He was decent for Chelsea once upon a time, but he had better days elsewhere. Double A, any honourable mentions?
I mean, he came, that goal against Leicester. I remember watching him at Old Trafford and obviously after a couple of bad years and he really brought that back. Those first few games at Old Trafford when he was marauding up the pitch, the ball just stuck to his feet. There was a sense of excitement again at Old Trafford thinking, wow, this kid, we knew he was amazing. He'd won the Champions League with Real Madrid. He was a world-class player, but, we were like, oh my God, this guy just better than we could have imagined. And obviously then it went the way it did, unfortunately, but he was a world-class footballer. And to see him even for a few games play the way he did was really fantastic. So yeah, I think we definitely have to mention him.
I remember him not famously, my favourite moment of Di Maria was watching him against Arsenal on a cold Monday night in March, get sent off for dissent to the referee and finished the game with 10 men, and young Danny Welbeck scored against Manchester United, which was painful for me to see as well, on a bad day to go back home on a cold Monday night. Sani, any honourable mentions from anyone on the pitch that we may have missed out on?
I think they've pretty much been covered, to be honest. I mean, there is Joe, Alfonso Alves as well.
Alves is a great shout, What a
Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
No, I'm literally just taking the piss here.
Giovanni from Hull. Remember his goal against Arsenal at the Emirates?
He was genuinely quite good, to be fair.
Elano, he was a good player.
Before Man City had the money. Good shout there as well.
Yeah, Elano was a good player. I mean, a couple of seasons.
Demichelis for a bit until MR10 or MR39 at the time came along and took him down.
You got Willie Caballero as well, if you really wanted another keeper. I don't know, like
Emi Buendia
Actually,
for
here's
Salim.
one.
Emi
Here's
Buendia
one.
for Salim. Got to throw him in there.
Here's one for Leicester. Their striker, what's his name? The one who
Ujoa, Leonard
Yeah.
Ujoa, Premier League winner.
Premier League winner, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if Ty from Arsenal Fan TV is watching this, you've got Mope as well. You're a cheat. So we've got him as well. So
There was a baller for United who got injured by Pogatetz, was going to be an absolute world-class midfielder, or potentially. Rodrigo Possebon got injured in a League Cup game for Manchester United. Like I say, against Middlesbrough, Pogatetz stuff ruined his career, but there was big things expected from him. So yeah, he was definitely one to shout out.
He came the same year as Rafael and Fabio as well, which was crazy to see. One more from me, if I have to give one, if I can think of I forgot his name. It'll come back to me, but there was one that I had in mind where I thought he was pretty good for Liverpool. Now,
shameless one from me would be shouting out Federico Fazio, the worst defender I've ever watched play for Tottenham. Absolutely shocking.
Fazio is a good one. I forgot who it was. It'll come back to me. No, I'm not. It was not Lucas Leiva, his midfielder. Now come back to me. No, that was it. Alexis McAllister, Argentinian. Now he's at Liverpool, but Brighton, for what he's done for Brighton as well, is a good newbie, and maybe he's going to go on to bigger and better things in this Jurgen Klopp Liverpool side as well. So that was the player I was kind of thinking of as well. And obviously you mentioned Mope, so that's why it triggered in my mind about Alexis McAllister as well. And I watched him live, and I'm pretty sure you watched him live as well. Double A and Son. He's a very good player on the ball as well. I'm looking forward to seeing how he will do at Liverpool with this more attacking, more free-flowing side as well, which will be good fun as well. But
I'm not looking forward to it.
I don't like looking forward to Liverpool at all. But when we're old and mature, Double A in a couple of years, we'll get to look back and think like he had a good season that one season, which is good fun. But yeah, just to read out our teams in full for our listeners. So mine and Sani's team: Edison in goal, Pablo Zabaleta, Alex, Otamendi, and Julio Arca as our defense. We've then got a midfielder Fernandinho, Ramirez, and Oscar in our midfield three, setting up an attack of Willian, Sergio Aguero, captain and wildcard, and Gabriel Jesus on the left wing. Double A, Travis, if you want to read out your team. Travis, I think it would be better because you've written it down.
Yeah, I've got it. Our team is, I closed it. It's Alisson in goal, Rafael da Silva at right back, Thiago Silva and Fabrizio Colaccini at centre back, Gabriel Heinz at left back, Gilberto Silva as a DM, Juan Sebastian Veron and Philippe Coutinho in front of him, and then Carlos Tevez on the right, Roberto Firmino in the middle, and Eric Lamela on the left.
Stani, how many email accounts do you have?
I have too many.
That's fine. We're gonna have to kind of make all these random Instagram accounts to kind of get our poll up for this team, because it's gonna be a bit difficult to win this poll for this week coming for our podcast coming up, because that attack is complete fire as well. Coutinho, Tevez, Firmino, and not Lamela, but Sebastian Veron as well. But yeah, Lamela's even a good shout in there as well. I think it's been a fantastic draft from all of us today as well. And the fact that we did it with Argentina and Brazil and not South America, it goes to show how much talent there has been in both Argentina and Brazil as well. But just to kind of wrap up the podcast, Double A, obviously you've been wearing this amazing kit from Brazil's World Cup. What are the kits behind you, just for our views and for our guys that don't actually know where those kits are from, if that's all right? Plug in your Talking Kit show as well.
Yeah, obviously, the main guy on Talking Kit just dropped an episode of Full Kit Rankers, our show. So obviously this is a 2006 home shirt with obviously the guy who should have been in this draft, because in 2003 he almost signed for Manchester United and he didn't. He did a news article to say he dreamt of wearing the number 7 for Manchester United. It's Ronaldinho, and it still burns me to this day that he didn't come to Manchester United. He should have been wearing the shirt that Sane's got on, which would have been just unbelievable. So
Can you imagine Ronaldinho having been in the Prem?
Oh,
ridiculous.
Could you imagine Ronaldinho and Mikel Silvestre on the same wing? Do you know how sick that would have been?
Well, you know what's mad? Apparently, if we'd have bought Ronaldinho that summer, we still would have bought Ronaldo as well.
Mm.
So we would have had Ronaldinho, and then Van Nistelrooy up top. That
would have been scary hours.
That has been another level, honestly. And then this one is the 94 home shirt, which they won the World Cup in, and it has number 18, and that is Ronaldinho, but that's a different Ronaldinho. It's R9. And the reason why it's called Ronaldinho is because back in the early 90s, there was a defender called Ronaldo. So obviously, as you know, Ronaldinho means small Ronaldo. So he was actually Ronaldo until that Ronaldo went, and then he became Ronaldo instead of Ronaldinho. So that's my favourite shirt of all time with the Ronaldinho name set, which my lovely girlfriend bought without actually knowing it was my number one shirt. Yeah, that's that one. And obviously, I've got the away shirt from 2022 as well. But I thought I had to represent. Also, it's funny. We actually picked more Argentinian players than Brazil players.
Yeah, we could have gone for R9, who has worn that shirt, the Richarlison 9 as well, which would have been good fun. We could have picked Anthony Martinelli, but I think a lot of these players from way back when, and even from the mid-2000s and 2010s, because they've got the pedigree there as well, it's worked so well for them in terms of how well they've settled into the Premier League, as we all know as well. Sani, especially you would know, for a lot of players from South America, don't really settle into England for pretty long as well. So before we wrap up the podcast and plug everyone's kind of channels and stuff, Sani, name your favourite Argentinian player in Premier League history and your favourite Brazilian. Then we'll go around to Double A, Travis, and then me.
Favourite Argentinian has to be Carlos Tevez, just because he was just a player. Great memories I have as a kid. Best Brazilian, that's a good one. I'll probably go with Double A shout of his wild card, Roberto Silva, just because although he was for the Invincibles, that was such a good team to watch. Him and Vieira, solid midfield, and yeah, Gilberto Silva, what a player. Definitely.
Double A, how about yourself? Favourite of Brazilian and Argentinian players from Premier League history?
I think they're both in my team. And, you know, they may not be seen as the best players that I've ever played in the Premier League, but for me, they're my favourite because of what they meant to me when I watched them play for Manchester United. So Argentinian has to be Juan Varane. Like I say, being a big fan of Brazil, to buy an Argentina shirt isn't the thing to do, but because I loved him so much, wanted to support him during that World Cup. It was Juan Varane. I absolutely loved him, and like I say, he still won a Premier League and he still scored some absolute bangers for the club. So very happy he played for us. And then my favourite Brazilian, Rafael. I mean, he was just fantastic. I can't believe that. I hate Louis van Gaal for a lot of things, and one of them is selling Rafael de Silva, and then us not having a proper right back until Wan-Bissaka came in.
We could do what Ten Hag's done with Johnny Evans, bring him in on a short-term contract as a backup, playing with the under-23s. It could happen. Stranger things that happen in football.
I think we're all right for right back, and I think he's at the top. He's at the top of the Brazilian league with Botafogo, so I don't think he wants to come back over it. But I just loved him, so yeah, he's my favourite Brazilian player. But Casemiro is a very, 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 very close.
Nicely done. Go on, Travis. Let's hear about your favourite Argentinian winger.
Yeah, it's got to be Lamela. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, just had that dog in him, and he just, especially the games against Arsenal, he always just fought for the shirt, and you just love to see that as a Tottenham fan, someone who will fight for the badge, and especially turn up in those games against Arsenal. For my Brazilian, I think it's an obvious one, Lucas Moura. He could have had 100,000 1 out of 10 performances for Tottenham, but just for that night in Amsterdam, he'll be a club legend forever. I know it's not Premier League, but I can't not think about it when talking about Lucas Moura. Just as a Tottenham fan, best night of my life, without doubt.
Nah, it's insane. And again, fantastic player on his day for Lucas Moura as well. He's also given me PTSD for scoring twice at Old Trafford in a 3-0 win.
That Mourinho rant, didn't he? After the game.
Yeah. Again, not a great Monday night to go to Manchester United. I probably shouldn't go to watch Man United on Monday nights. I'm clearly a jinx for the.
Don't go to the Wolves game. Please don't go to the Wolves.
First game of the season, if I go, it'll be like 2-0 Wolves. Nah, I can't be having that at all, which weren't great at all. I think me personally, favourite Argentinian player. Yeah, I'm going to say it. Lisandro Martinez. Lisandro Martinez is the reason why I bought this shirt. Like, for honest sake, I keep saying to people, yeah, if I wanted to, I could have got the 22 or 23 that he wore at the World Cup and got it on, but they didn't have a reasonably priced one. So I have to,
or 25 or 26.
Yeah, 25 or 26. So Lisandro Martinez is my favourite Argentinian player in Premier League history. I love everything about him. I argue with people in comments, and I never do that, but I argue with people in comments about Lisandro Martinez. I back the guy like he backs the football club. And my favourite Brazilian, it may come as a shock, but because he was a big favourite of mine before he moved to the Premier League, Thiago Silva, more than most, because I respected him a lot at AC Milan. And in a way, when he was at AC Milan, he came out of nowhere and he just became like a don of Serie A, and then went to PSG, being one of the most expensive signings at the time. And then it just went on from there. So Thiago Silva and Lisandro Martinez for me personally as well, which was great fun. Right, we are at the end of this podcast. It has been one of my favorite podcasts of the summer so far, leading up into the Premier League season. Before we wrap up, Sonny, talk to us about your plans for this season coming, and Double A, obviously. Talk to us about your plans with Talking Kit and elsewhere as well. So, Sonny, take us away, my friend. Where are we going?
No, of course. Check out the socials. Sonny That Sports Guy. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. I mean, YouTube's pretty much all the sporting events I go to, because it's not just football I love watching. I love watching everything. I
heard you're starting a boxing series as well.
Yeah, boxing series is starting very, very soon as well. So listen, just watch this space, because there's so much. Cricket World Cup later this year, Rugby World Cup as well. I'm pretty much everywhere and anywhere when I'm not working and I've got exams. So yeah, just watch this space.
Nicely done. Double A, obviously, I kind of hinted at the beginning as well about you having cameo appearances on United Stand. Are we going to see more of you on there? Are we going to see a lot more of Talking Kit this season? What have we got going on?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so, mate. I mean, I think they're still my friends. You know, they're not blocked me or anything. They still follow me on social. So yeah, we'll see. You know, we'll see. You know, it's nice to be on there. Nice to be asked to go on there. I enjoy it, talking about the team I love. So yeah, maybe on there. Obviously, I do the Unfiltered podcast with Saeed and Andy Tate and Flawless on a Sunday, which I love, and big up to Saeed, because he's, you know, he has, in the best way possible, he has everyone on his channel. He gives everyone that platform.
Agreed.
So yeah, you know, I watch Sani on there. I really enjoy it when he's on there as well. So yeah, so doing that. But obviously, Talking Kit is, well, Talking Kit is obviously my first love, and you know, the one I come home to at night. I just love football kits. I collect them, and I work with them. You know, so Talking Kit is the main channel. We do two main shows. Full Kit Rankers, so it's where we sit down and we rank 10 shirts from a given league, player, competition, anything like that. And we have Desert Island kits as well. So we bring someone on and we get them to pick 5 shirts from their football collection that they would take to a desert island with them as well. But aside of that, I'm also venturing and moving into more talking about football. You know, it's something I love, not just the shirts and that. And yeah, so I've got another channel now, which is Double AFC.
Ooh.
You can find it on YouTube.
Is this an exclusive?
Well, I'd say, well, maybe not. I don't know. It's been up. I did a vlog for the last game of the season, just gone. So it's up there already. I've done one shot when I went to the most wildest non-league game down at Droylsden in Manchester. But no, I need to do more myself talking about football. You know, it's great being on other people's channels and other people's podcasts. But I think, you know, to have my own sort of angle on how I see football is great. So yeah, Double AFC is up there. It's going to be short videos. It's not really going to be long podcasts. It's just 5-10 minute videos, me talking about specific subjects, or that doesn't have to necessarily be about United as well, or that might be the main focus. So yeah, on YouTube, and you can find me on the socials as well. It's all, well, the socials are Double A Futebol, which is obviously Brazilian football, so FUTEBOL. I'm really going with that Brazilian theme. I know you're laughing, Sandy, but that's just the way it is, unfortunately.
I love a Brazil as well. I see you with your Duolingo every day.
Oh, mate, I'm on it. I'm loving the Duolingo. You've just reminded me as well. I need to do it before I lose my streak. So thank you for reminding me of that. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. But yeah, find me Talking Kit, Double AFC, come in and get involved. But thanks for having me on as well.
No, my pleasure as always. And Travis, it's always great to have you on the podcast. And obviously, exclusive news for our weekly listeners as well. Travis will be a consistent co-host from the start of the season as well. So starting from today, it's literally going to be a lot more of Travis, a lot more unfortunate Tottenham Hotspur conversation. But the fans love him. The fans love Travis, and they love him from his vlog as well. So officially, straight welcome to Travis for our season ahead after doing such a good job last season. I think they want you to replace me, Travis, but we're not going to have that. You're still going to be my diversity quota. That's all I'm saying as well, Travis. And not for your skin tone, for your Tottenham Hotspur opinions as well. As we're going
I'm happy to be a box ticker in fan allegiance and also skin tone if needs be.
That's fine. I'm loving it as well, which is great to see. And hopefully we'll get a couple more games in this season for Tottenham Hotspur as well, which will be great fun as well. But no, everyone, thank you very much for your time. You've been so generous with your time, with your opinions, with your thoughts as always. Looking forward to seeing Sani and Double A at Old Trafford this season as well. well. Sani, hopefully we can cram in a foot golf game before September comes around. Double Leon, Travis, you're going to love the video that we've made for you for our foot golf earlier this season as well. Everyone have a lovely week. Everyone, thank you very much for listening. Take care. And we'll see you all next week on Friday Night Counterattack. Goodbye.